Hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about two tenses that we use to talk about the past simple and the present perfect. The present perfect can be difficult for Italian speakers because it looks like your passato prossimo, but it has a bit of different uses. When we talk about the past, we have to consider not really the action itself, but above all, when the action happened. Okay, so according to me, the most important consideration to make is that in English, we make a difference between finished and unfinished time. What is finished time? Well, finished time is a time that is completely in the past. It has absolutely no connection with the present. And so that might be a time like yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 4 years ago, in July, in 2016, when, in the sense of maybe when I was a child. In all of these cases, we use the past simple when we're talking about an action that happened in any of these times. Instead, if we talk about something that happened in unfinished time, that could be today, this morning, this week, this month, or this year, but also maybe recently, lately, or in fact in my life, because we are still here, so our lives are not finished. In this case, we use the present perfect. So when you talk about the past, the first thing to consider is not the action itself, but the time in which the action happened, and whether that time is finished or not. I like to use the example of drinking coffee. Do you drink coffee? I usually drink about 3 or 4 coffees a day, but I have spoken to somebody who told me that he's drank 11 or 12 coffees a day. That's too much. Okay, so if I want to ask you about your habits about drinking coffee, if I want to ask you about yesterday, then I have to use the past simple, because yesterday is a time period that is completely finished and that has no connection with the present. So I asked you the question, how many coffees did you have yesterday? And you can answer me also using the past simple, and so you can say I had 3 coffees. Now here we can notice that sometimes the verbs that we use in English are different to those that you use in Italian, because in Italian you say prendere un caffè, but in English we say avere un caffè, have a coffee. Okay, if I want to ask you the same question but referring to today, then I have to use the present perfect, which we can see is made using have or has and the past participle. So, how many coffees have you had today? And I can answer, instead, in this case, I have had 3 coffees. The action of having the coffee is in the past, but the time period is not finished today. So it is possible that today I will have more coffee later on. Yeah, so it's not so much the action, but it's the time period which is important here. Okay, so some questions that you might like to consider are, what have you done this week? Have you seen any good films recently? How many books have you read so far this year? These are all times that are not finished. So in this case, if you talk about something that is past but in a time that's not finished, you're going to use the present perfect. Why not try to answer these questions in the chat? And if you have Any other questions or any comments, I'd be happy to help out. Thanks and see you again soon.